Hello children, welcome back. So today we are going to do the remaining part of the lesson. Okay, the master artist. I want you all to open your textbooks, page number 11, and get ready with your pencils. Unit 2, the master artist. Before we start, let us have a quick recap of the lesson that we have done yesterday. If you remember, there was a French artist. What was his name? Yeah, Monsieur l'Abbé. So children, we learned few pronunciations also. Okay, so Monsieur l'Abbé, he was a very famous artist of his time. He was Monsieur l'Abbé. He was, getting to retire from his work. He worked for almost 45 years. Now he thought to get retired, maybe because of his age or maybe because of his health issues. All his career, he was, a very famous artist. But he wasn't happy with the work he was doing. His dream was something else. Although he did a good job, according to people's wish, he would paint. He became very famous. But, actually, it was not his interest. His interest was something different. He was never proud of his work. And he never got the chance to work or to paint according to his ways. So, one day, an Italian patron, what was his name? Yes, Giuliano Bartoli. He called for him and asked Signor l'Abbé to paint a portrait of his, as he was highly recommended artist. And Signor l'Abbé, when he saw the wall, 20 feet tall wall, he thought, yes, this is the correct opportunity where I can, bring out my talent and let me use it, he thought. And, Signor l'Abbé, he agreed. He agreed to paint his portrait. Though he was, not interested initially. But later, he agreed. But he said, I have few conditions. If you agree to those conditions, then I'll start, painting your portrait. And the first condition was, he would let him paint according to his own ways, according to his ability. Okay. And the second condition was, till the portrait was complete, it would remain hidden. Okay. No one would come and see the portrait, not even Giuliano Bartoli. And Giuliano agreed to his conditions, and they both drew up the contract. And Signor l'Abbé, he started doing his portrait. So Giuliano was very eager to find out how the painting was going on. 1 week passed, and he asked him, through the curtain, how the painting was coming along. So children, we have read till here. Okay, so now let us start the next part. So page number 11, 8th paragraph. Answering him from behind the curtain, Monsieur l'Abbé said, "It's coming along quite well." So here, Giuliano asked him, "How is it coming along?" So in reply, Monsieur said that it is coming along very well, quite well. Here, what are they talking about? They are talking about, about the portrait. You know, at the age of 8, I was apprentice to the great Ambrosio Lorenzetti. So, he told him that he was a student, a learner, a follower. Apprentice here means, somebody who learns a skill, right? So, Ambrosio Lorenzetti, he was a very famous Italian painter too. So, I would never dishonor his name. Now, he was telling him that he is the follower, he has learned the skills from such a great artist, okay, and he would never dishonor his name. Dishonor means he would not, let his name come down. So, I have to do my work very nicely, very, in a proper way, because I am, the person who has learned skills from such a great artist. He taught me the art of grinding pigment, laying plaster, sometimes slowly, sometimes faster. So he said that I learned how to, I learned the art, okay, from him. He taught me the art of grinding pigment, laying plaster, how to plaster the wall, how to color the portrait. Sometimes slowly I do, sometimes very fast I do. So these are the tricks I learned from him, he said. He taught me how to draw, and most importantly, not to hurry. And Signor Bartoli, a masterpiece takes a while at least. So he was telling him that he learned from his master that not to be in hurry. And he said to him that it is a masterpiece that I am going to paint, and it takes a while, it takes some time. Reluctantly, Signor Bartoli withdrew. Here, he, withdrew here means he left that place unwillingly. Okay, he just wanted to see how the portrait was coming up. But because of the contract, they signed a contract, and in the contract, there were the terms and conditions. So forcefully he had to leave the place. A month passed. How is it coming along? Signor Bartoli asked. It's coming along nicely, said Monsieur l'Abbé, again from behind the curtain. Along with his words came the strange sounds of swooshing, clanking, and slapping. So this time, along with his answer, Signor, he heard, few strange sounds coming behind the curtain. Now you know what is slapping. Yeah, when you slap on the face, you get that sound. And you know what is clanking? It's a loud sound of metal pieces, hitting or hitting each other. They make this clanking sound. And what is swooshing? When you move very fast, or when you rush past something, yes, you swoosh. So that is called as swooshing. So Signor, he heard these sounds and he felt very strange. You're fortunate that I'm painting your portrait. Here, Mosso says that you're lucky. Fortunate here is lucky that I am painting your portrait, he says. Only bone fresco will need 4 coats of lime plaster. So now he gives an example. He says that the famous bone fresco, it needs 4 coats of lime plaster. So here, what is fresco? It is a kind of, painting which is done on the ceiling or on the walls. Okay. So here he is explaining his method of painting. He says that buon fresco needs, 4 coats, and I am exactly doing the same way. And your portrait will last forever. Believe me, give me some time, he says to Signor Bartoli. He says that your poster will last forever, it will never fade. But it's a time consuming endeavor. So he says it takes a lot of time. He explains him again. Endeavor means an activity which needs lot of efforts. Sighing deeply, the patron withdrew again. Just how long would this take? Signor, he took a deep breath. He didn't want to go now. He lost all his patience, and he was so irritated by now. He just asked him, how long would this take? Another 3-4 months passed, and finally half a year went by. So it took almost 6 months. First month went on, second month, third, fourth, and finally almost 6 months passed. One day, Signor Bartoli marched in, demanding to see his portrait. So this was his limit now. He could not hold it anymore. Okay? He just wanted to see his portrait now. And he demanded that I want to see my portrait now. You must be finished it by now, and today I must see it, he demanded. He exclaimed, shaking with frustration. Now he was so frustrated. Now it was a limit for his patience. Now he says that no, I just want to see my portrait, how it has come out. Stepping out from behind the cloth, as though surprised by such anger. So Monsieur l'Abbé, he stepped out, from behind the curtain, as he was so surprised to see, Bartoli's anger. He did not expect Signor to behave in this manner. Okay, so he came out. Monsieur l'Abbé said calmly, "That's fine. You needed only to request it." And he pulled aside the 20 feet tall curtain. So here Monsieur said, "It's okay, you could have requested me. I could have shown it to you. Okay, now you will see it." And he just, pulled aside the curtain. Giuliano Bartoli stood for a minute. He was frozen. He stood without uttering a word. His mouth fell open. His eyes turned red, and he grabbed with few hair he had left on his head. He showed his anger. His mouth was open, okay, and whatever hair was left on his head, he just pulled them out. His eyes became red with rage, and he was so frustrated after seeing his portrait. He did a little hop, he jumped a little, and he did a little twitch. He twitched, like a sudden movement, and his eyebrow twisted as though he is under a spell. He was unhappy after seeing his portrait. He was, his eyebrows twisted, and as though he was under a spell. Like under a spell here means like he's under some magic. He couldn't imagine that his portrait was like that. So Giuliano Bartoli obviously did not like his portrait, not a bit. Giuliano Bartoli was enraged. So here his expressions clearly showed that he did not like his portrait at all. Obviously means sure. So it was sure that he did not like his portrait, not even a bit. Giuliano Bartoli was enraged. He was very, very angry. Enraged means furious, angry. How absurd. How disgusting. What does this mean? His first exclamation, he said how absurd, how disgusting it is, and how shabby the work is. What does this mean? He could not understand the portrait at all. You will not receive any money. He was so angry, and he said that you are not going to get any money. Do you hear? He said angrily. None, you are not an artist. Maybe a thief or a madman. So he says, you are not at all an artist. Yeah, you are a thief or a madman. Get out of my sight immediately. You leave my house tonight, or I'll have to throw you out. So he says, get out of my house tonight, or I'll throw you out of my house. So, what had Monsieur l'Abbé drawn that was so wrong? Monsieur was thinking, what had he drawn that was so wrong? When he looked at his painting, he couldn't find out anything wrong in it. He was now confused why Bartoli reacted in that way. He was now thinking, what is wrong in this painting? He had fussed and fixed for so long. Fussed and fixed means he has thought over it. He had worked on it for so long. That means he has given enough time to his work. He had, invested a lot of time to draw such a painting, and he was now confused, like what is wrong in this painting. He did not find any mistake in his portrait, and he was like, he didn't understand exactly what is wrong. Why was Bartoli acting this way? He wasn't sorry that he had drawn his heart's content, his way, no matter what anybody could say. Perhaps his patron couldn't tolerate his cubist expression. But Pablo Picasso would have been proud of him. Monsieur was happy for what he had done. He was not at all feeling sorry. And he was very happy to see his portrait drawn by, his own ability. He was actually thinking that his portrait is a masterpiece. So here he says that, perhaps his patron here is, Giuliano Bartoli could not tolerate his cubist expression. Cubist here means, the style that belonging to the cubism, a form of modern art which uses geometric shapes and was developed and made, it was developed and made famous by Pablo Picasso in the early 20th century. He says that Giuliano Bartoli could not understand his painting, but Pablo Picasso would have been very proud of him. He would have been very proud of his painting. If truth be told, Monsieur l'Abbé wasn't crazy, not at all. He had simply been born 500 years too early. Here the writer says that Monsieur l'Abbé, he was not at all crazy or a madman. In fact, he was, a superb artist. The writer here gives the reason that he had simply been born 500 years too early. So, this is how we complete the story. I hope you understood the lesson. It's a very nice, interesting lesson. Now, I want you to go to this part of the chapter again and try to note down the new words and the meanings. Okay? If you haven't subscribed my channel, please do subscribe my channel, children. See you all with the next chapter. Take care everyone. Bye bye.